Hi guys, and welcome to this video. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about CTEs, or also known as with SQL with statements. So you could either call it CTEs or SQL with statements. So yeah, before we get into the video, the only thing I'd like to let you guys know is if this is your first time interacting with any of my tutorials, please note that I'm creating a bunch of SQL tutorial under the playlist SQL tutorial. So yeah, if there's more like basic SQL that you need to brush up on, feel free to go and check out the tutorial. And yes, stay tuned probably by subscribing. So as we continue creating this SQL tutorial and get into like intermediate and more advanced SQL concepts, we are together in this. And yeah, if you want to use my SQL, please note the first ever video on that playlist will show you how to upload your CSV onto the MySQL environment. And I've also linked a tutorial that you can go and watch to just help you have MySQL on your machine. So yes, that's it for this intro. Yeah, let's get into the video. So yeah, so for the CTEs slash SQL with statement, we're only going to answer two questions. We're going to, we want to have a visual of views by continent. And the next thing is we want to create a popularity scale using views. And then we want to find how people are paid by this popularity scale. So before we get into it, the only thing I can also say is like what a city is, what is the SQL with statement. So it just allows you to create a temporary table. Like there are certain manipulations you'd want to do that SQL rules don't permit, or there are too complex and you'll have a lot of nesting. So even when you yourself come back to that query later, or maybe you want to add something, remove something, it will take you time. And it will probably be even worse for someone who's totally new trying to understand what you're doing. So when you use temporary tables, when you use CTEs, SQL with statement to break your work into portions, it just makes it easy to read, you know, among other benefits of CTEs. But yeah, let's get into the first question. So views by continent. So we're going to borrow what we did in the aggregate functions part 2 tutorial. If you've not checked this out, please feel free to go and check it out. Please feel free to go and check it out. No, actually, we're going to borrow from case statements, not aggregate functions. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to select. And what are we interested in? So we are interested in views. Yeah. So we're interested in, are we interested in views? Yeah, we're interested in views. So we can have views per continent. Then what else are we interested in? Yeah, we're actually just interested in views. And now we need to create the continent. So, okay, once we've selected views from the global YouTube statistics data, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a case statement to create a column known as continent. So I'm not going to do that again. You could just like read through the code or go back to the SQL case statement and just get a hang of what we're doing. So what we're basically doing is we're doing case when country, or which country is a column in this data set in one of this, then it's in Africa. If country is in one of these countries, then it's in Europe. If country, when country is in one of this, then it's in Asia, North America, South America, Australia, and Oceania. Yeah, so we're just going to copy this. So the whole thing, the whole case statement. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, if you're not familiar with how case statements work, please feel free to go check out the tutorial. Yes, there we go. So, and we can also add country just for the sake of, so that we are, like when we are confirming, we are okay. So we have selected video views, we've selected country, and we've created continents from YouTube statistics. Yeah, so we can just limit this to probably 30. Yeah. Okay, and yeah, what's the only one? Let's run this and see what happens. So as you can see, we have video views. we have the country, then you have the continent. So like, for example, this YouTuber who's from the United States had 0 views. This one had a good number of views, same to this one. And you see, anywhere that there's United States, North America, anywhere that is, a European country, Asia is in, Russia is in Europe, Japan is in Asia, United Kingdom is in Europe. So it's done that for us already, yeah. So what do we want to do? We want to get the number of views by continent, yeah. So this is where the SQL, this is where the with statement would come in, because now imagine, okay, now you've created your continent, yeah, and group by, oh, you actually don't, you don't necessarily need a CTE for this. So yeah, let's do it the CTE way first, then I'll show you guys how to do it without a CTE, yeah. Okay, so what can we do next? So let's remove this. And of course, yeah, we don't need this. Yeah. So we're going to create the with. I should have probably started with something short, but the next one is short. With data A as, so we open brackets, and then we come and close bracket. If you do select all from data A, select all from data A. Okay. Let's just highlight the whole thing and see. Okay, let me just move this and I read through my error. Okay, so we did try as selection. It could be such a small thing and it can get you there debugging for hours. Okay, let me just debug. Then we continue. So it's data S, not data A. There you go. So let's get rid of it. So when you select everything from data A, you have everything. So as you can see, now we don't have to select from global YouTube statistics. Like the only thing we care about from global YouTube statistics is video views, country, and continent, yeah? So now there's CTE with data as. So the with SQL with statement has allowed us to create a new temporary table known as data S. And that data S only contains 3 columns: video views, country, and continent. So another benefit of this is, imagine you have a table that has like, I don't know, 20 plus columns, yeah? And you're only interested in like 3 columns, yeah? It's more efficient to just pick the few columns that you're interested in and continue working with those, instead of every time you're running your complex code, it has to look through the whole table. Now it doesn't have to look through the whole table because you've created a temporary table that only includes what you're interested in. So now that we have this, so from, and then now what did you want to do? The actual question wanted us to do the views by continent. So here we're going to use a group by, and don't worry, like I'm going to go slowly, but as you can see, the next tutorial after this is going to be group by. And I guess for anyone who's been following along this tutorial, there is something that we did in the aggregate functions part 2 that I needed to clarify. So it's going to be, and I know I promised that after aggregate functions part 2, we're going to have group by, but I realized in the group by, I'm using a good number of CTEs both in the tutorial for group by and having. So like, you know what, let's go through CTEs first, so that by the time we get to group by and having, in case I decide to use CTEs, like you guys actually know what this CTEs are, what this with clause is. Plus you've seen I've used it a lot even in like the basic examples. I could give very basic examples and I'd give like one example using the CTE. So yeah, that's why. So the question I promised to clarify is coming next. So we are selecting So here what we want to do is we're going to aggregate here. So we want to do the sum of video views. So I can still do that. Did you rename it? Okay, we can rename it. So video views as video views, yeah. So now it's called video views, and you can't call this. If you call this and you try call it from data S, it doesn't exist there. So as total views, yeah. And we also have continent. How did we spell it? Yeah. And we also have continent. So we are selecting continent, and then we want to sum video views as total views from data S. Then we want to group by continent. Yeah. Let me not do group by one. I'll explain that. Okay. So yeah, even before we do this, let's just do that and let's do that. Yeah. So we just want to sum total views from, and we want to sum total views from data S. So let's run that. So as you can see, no commas. I'm going to struggle to read this, but yeah, this is the total number of views. But this, yes, this is useful to some extent. Now you know the total number of views. But if you want to know how have this total number of views been distributed by continent, so now you select continent, you still sum the total number of views, but we're also going to group it by them. So what's going to happen? The total number of views are 96 something something something, yeah. So that's aggregated. Now we want to open it up and see from this 96 blah 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 how many came from continent X, Y, Z, etc. So yeah, let's run that and see. So yeah, as you can see, there's Asia, America, Europe. So yeah, this is how they're distributed, and as you can clearly see, Africa had the least number of views. So yeah, there's something that was disturbing me the other day. Let's see if we do order by video views. What's going to happen? Yeah, it's still, yeah. I don't know if it's like someone can help me understand like why. Anyway, yeah, so let's get rid of that and let's just run and also do away with this. So yeah, so this is actually very interesting, but I'm also not shocked. Asia, you know these commas of mine. Okay, so yeah, to just make my life easier. So we have Asia, North America, Europe, South America, Australia, and Africa. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we can create another CTE. Yeah. So we've selected. So now when you create a second CTE, to just make my work neat, so we're going to have comma. We're going to call this YT data as. So as you can see, when you create a second CTE, so you had the first CTE that's called data S, and now this is called YT. Let's do that, yeah. So it just starts with comma, what you want to name your temporary table as, then you come and close it, yeah. So now that we have this CTE, I want to select max. I want to select max total views. Total views from YT dot, yeah. So okay, so it's the one with the 4. So let's comment this out and comment this out. So if we run this again to go back to the original CTEs, as you can see, North America has the highest number of views, and probably followed by Asia and Europe. So let's go back to the other CTE. So now we are adding back. So we have CTE1 called data S. We have CTE2 called YT data. Yeah. And we want to, let's uncomment this. We want to select total views from YT data, and we want to order by total views. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is so we can add continents. So we're selecting continents total views from YT data, and okay, so as you can see in ascending order. So the default for order by is in ascending. So as you can see, Africa had the lowest. So if descending is what we care about, let's do that. So as you can see, North America had the highest, followed by Asia, Europe, South America, Australia, and Africa. Yeah, so I find it so interesting that I can't do my order by on total views here. And I know I can't do order by some video views because aggregate functions are not allowed in the group by. I find it so interesting, unless I'm the one who's forgetting, but whenever I do this on like the platform I use for Postgres, I think it works. I think I'm going to go back and try on that platform and see. But yeah, so that's, you see how useful a CTE can be. So like, for example, the way I was trying to do the order by here and it was refusing, you can just create another CTE. So now it recognizes this as a table with 2 columns and you can do further manipulation here. So I know this is a bit long, yeah. But yeah, the next example is going to be shorter so that you can really see what's happening. But I think you can still really see what's happening despite this length, yeah. So yeah, let's go to the next one. And for this next question, again, we're still going to borrow from the case, what we did in case statement. So we're going to create a popularity scale using views, and then we find the pay by the popularity scale, yeah. So I think we had done something like that here. Yes, we had. So, it was popularity scale using upload. So yeah, we're just going to change, but it doesn't make sense to use views. Okay, so yeah, we'll just change it to using uploads. Yeah, so create a popularity scale using uploads. But that doesn't make sense. It's not sitting right with me. So we're just going to do it from scratch. So yeah, so we want to select max views, video views. Then the minimum will probably be 0. You know what? I've just here, but let's see. It's not going to be so much from but to just make our life easier, I want to comment all this out. So we just run and we don't have to highlight. So comment that out. So selecting max video views, minimum video views from. Okay, so the max is so long, you guys. You know what? Let's just use upload. So I think since we're already here, I'll just do upload. Because the hypothesis is, it makes more sense to be like, oh, the more views you have, the more popular you are. But let's just have this hypothesis that, oh, these people who are popular also upload quite a lot. So the more you upload, quote unquote, to the more popular you are. So that's our hypothesis here. So as you can see, maximum view is about 300,000, minimum 1 view. Yeah. So we're going to pick this. Yeah, so we're just going to pick this. So consistency. Yeah, we can actually change our question. Again, sorry about that. So create a consistency scale. So we're creating a consistency scale. So we're creating a consistency scale using uploads and find the pay by consistency. So are people who are more, do people who are more consistent, are people who are more consistent paid more? Does it matter? Does it not matter? But it matters. Like you could be very consistent at the start. And consistency is not really about more videos. So I take back my word, because I'm about to be like, the more consistent you are, the more you're likely to be paid. But when you start off, you could start off like posting way more, and then you get to a point where you have your audience, and now you're just like, you know what, I'm going to be posting like twice a month. Good to go. So yeah, you're still consistent with your twice a month, and it will still work. Yeah. So this just kind of justifies, just to give you, in case you did not watch the case statement, in case you didn't watch the case statement query tutorial, I mean, I'm giving you the logic behind this, and I also give a disclaimer that this might not be the best way to come up with your bounds. It makes sense to be more aligned with your operations. So select case when uploads are less than, this is 75K, that's level 1 of consistency, between 75K and 150K, level 2 of consistency, between 150 and 1 and 300K, level 3 of consistency. Anything above 300 is level 4 of consistency. So that's our consistency status. Yeah. I just remember there's something I was supposed to show you, so I'll show you with this one before we continue with the CTEs. Yeah. And what are we interested in? We want to see the pay. So yearly earnings, highest yearly earnings, here it is. So highest yearly earnings. So we have consistency status and highest yearly earnings. So we're like, okay, which people earn the most? Yeah, from here. So you could actually still do highest yearly earnings as, but I realize this thing you don't really need to like name again. It's like when you just do sum, it takes that. So total, I brought it too long. So we have consistency status and the sum from this. Yeah. So you can do group by 1. So in group by, you could like explicitly, in group by, you could explicitly write consistency status, or you could use the position. So as you can see, this is the first one, column 1, column 2. Yeah. But then again, as I told you guys, there. So I was about to give a disclaimer that I mostly use, I don't remember what I learned. I learned SQL with, I think I learned it with SQLite and MySQL. I can't remember. I think I used to I honestly, by the time I was even trying to learn, I didn't even know that there was a difference. But I was mostly on SQLite, yeah. And then when I started working, we used Postgres. And here I am creating tutorials with MySQL. And it's not like I went and sat somewhere and decided, you know what, let me learn MySQL. I'm like, no, I'm just taking my knowledge from Postgres and I'm like trying to use it here. My knowledge from Postgres and SQLite, and I'm trying to use it here. What works, what doesn't work, I'll go and Google and figure out, okay, what is this difference? But so far, so good. Like we've just been flowing, despite the fact that I could say this tutorial is like the first time I've used SQL for this long, and to do some of these complex analysis. I've never done them on MySQL. I've done them in like SQLite and Postgres. So yeah, I hope you've gotten something from there. Like, don't stress about which SQL you need to learn. Fundamentally, they're all the same. They are all the same. Yeah. So as you can see, level 1 people earn the most. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, but yeah, so you could do this. Yeah. So clearly you don't need a CTE. Like, yes, I'm showing you guys how to what's a CTE, how you'd use it, but it's up to you to, your judgment, depending on the analysis you're doing. Is a CTE necessary or not? So for this particular analysis and even the query before, a CTE is not necessary. Like, there's another way you could do it. So yeah, because this is quote unquote very basic. I'm not doing too many complex things. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, let's go back to the CTE way, because that's what we were trying to learn here. So, so we've selected case statement. Let's do limit 20 and see what we have here. So we have the various levels and the earnings, yeah? And now let's put it in a city with, what can you call it? Data, ER, as. So we close, and then we remove this limit, because if you limit it to 20, let's limit it to 5, yeah? And you do select all from data, CR, and you run. It's only going to bring 5 entries, yeah? So you have to, like, sometimes when you're doing your manipulation, doing your calculations on, like, the original CTE before you pull data, you could probably be doing the calculation on like 100 data points, 200 data points. Always remember to comment it out or delete it, or else you're going to find like the end result will have, like, the data won't make sense. It will be so little, you'll be like, Allah, what's going on? Kobe, you forgot to remove the limit. So yeah, that's what we have. And yeah, so yeah, let's complete this. What did we want to do? We wanted to so we're getting what did you call it? Cons data. Actually, we need it to the comma. Control copy. So cons data. Oh. And we also want the, yeah, let's just call this as earnings. Okay, then we want to do some earnings as earnings. Yep. Let's run that and see. Oh, yeah, I forgot to do group by. So as you can see, an aggregate function can't exist without an aggregate function, just like that. You have to do a group by. So you can do group by all status cons data, the telling me unknown column. And there you go. So let's see. Order by, if we do 2. It worked. What if we did by earnings? It worked. Yeah. Let's see. And what was I doing wrong the other time? But yeah, there you go. So we have our CTE, the first temporary table, that is allowing us to create consistency status. Then we want to see, okay, based on consistency, who earns more? So yeah, the level 1 people earn the highest. But remember, this is aggregated because people in level 4 and people in level 3 are probably very few. So it's a sample thing, it's a numbers thing. And that's why, like, counts, should I say absolute numbers might not really be the best. So when you want to do comparisons, percentages would be better. Yeah, so that's a very blanket statement. It probably doesn't make sense for this particular use case. But yeah, if you want to stay tuned, learn more, get into more complex analysis that will help you understand what I mean by counts are not the best for comparison. You'd rather do like a relative measure, like come up with a percentage to compare various groups, because this is making it look like level 1 people who don't upload as much and the most, but it could be true. It could also not be true. Yeah, don't take face value of data. Good to understand more what is happening here. So yeah, this has been a long one and it's just 2 videos. I didn't expect it to be that long, but yeah, let's just do a run through. What we did is we created a temporary table, a CTE, using the SQL with clause, and we called it data CR. So there we created consistency status, and we are interested in earnings. So we have 2 columns, consistency status and earnings. So once we created that, we just wanted to aggregate that and find out, okay, altogether, people who upload at level 1 consistency, so those are the people who upload less than 75K, they have less than 75K uploads. What do they earn compared to people who have more than 300 uploads? As you can see, the people who have 300 uploads don't earn as much compared to the others aggregated. But as I'd mentioned, it's a sample thing. Like, I'm sure there are very few people here, and this is a good amount for the very few people. So imagine if we did something like we divided, like we found the average. Let's find the average. And then we do average, which is even an average is not perfect, because if the data is skewed, they're like outliers, it will not tell us the truth, but it's closer. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, and we want to order by 3. So we want to order by average earning. So now level 2 has the highest average earning, followed by level 4, 3, and 1. You see how it's changed when you use an average, and I trust the average more. But still, it's worth taking a deep dive because it's at a very surface level. Like, remember, if you just took the aggregated earnings, how that would mislead you. Look at how this has shifted. So now the level 1 people are the lowest when you order this by average. So yeah, as I mentioned before, if you found this interesting, if you've learned something, feel free to subscribe. Like, let me know in the comments, like, oh, you liked this, what else would you like to see? And yeah, let's go. Let's stay in this journey together. So yeah, as I keep learning, as I keep getting more experience, so there's the learning bit, because I'm literally doing a master's in data science and analytics, and I plan to focus in computational statistics. So as I keep on learning that stuff, as I keep on getting more experience as a professional data analyst, and you're interested in like my journey, both the technical side and like, just story time. How did I get into this field? What are my recommendation if you want to get into this field in 2023, in 2024? What tools do you need to learn, etc, etc? Feel free to subscribe and come, learn from my mistakes, probably shorten your journey thanks to like what you hear from me, because this needs to be another video, but just now I was so confused at the start. Like, before I figured out my path, I did a lot of trial and error, and if I had certain answers, I would not have done as much trial and errors, and probably I would have transitioned faster. So yeah, if you want to learn from me, subscribe. Yeah, let's let's learn from each other. Let's grow. If you see something I did here that doesn't make sense, or you have a shorter way to do it, yeah, please let me know. So yeah, let me just say this here so that when I'm uploading, I remember I need to link this code down in the comments, down in the description, so anyone who's interested in this doc can access it. And honestly, I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to figure it out and share it with you guys, because I'm like, it's not just a link. Or I can put the code like in Google Colab, then I can share the link and you can access it there. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Otherwise, guys, yeah, thank you for staying to the end. Feel free to, like, comment, share, and let me know what other things you'd like to see. And Oh, we're getting closer to like the mid project. So the idea was to do like a mid, very basic project and share with you guys before we continue with more like advanced and intermediate concept. We've done most, if not all, the basic concepts. Now I've started getting into intermediate, and this CTEs actually fall under advanced SQL. So and I explained why I decided to throw in a advanced concept. So it would make sense to do a project so that you guys get a picture of how you can combine all these skills together as we continue with other more advanced projects. Like one thing I also struggled with is learning these things in pieces. Okay, after I know what an aggregate function is, after I know group by, after I know how can I put all this together and drive value for a business? The project is going to help with that. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. Now, guys, bye for real. I need to go and eat. Bye.